I give these to my new patients because it's important to know what's good, what's bad. This is good.
Yes.
This is bad.
Yes.
Okay. Now, the first bone in your spine, I got my model here. These are the bones. Okay. The first bone in the spine is the only bone in the spine that's freely movable. It's got to turn with your head. Now, your head and neck, you're supposed to have really good range of motion.
And I don't. I know that.
All right. Well, we're going to fix that. But this first bone is the only bone that's like, it's very unique. Okay. Now,
What is this guy? A nerve or muscle?
this is well,
What's the-
actually, in the body, this is where the artery that supplies blood to your brain
That's
goes.
an artery. Okay.
It's called the vertebral artery.
Okay.
Good question. Now, this bone, because it's so freely movable, is also very vulnerable. It's held in place with tiny little muscles and ligaments, okay? There's like 6 pairs of them, and here they are. These little guys right here, okay?
Yeah.
You got muscles that go from the skull to the first bone, from the first bone to the second, from the second to the skull, blah, blah. Okay, now, the first bone in the neck is called the atlas, like the Greek god that held the world on his shoulders, you know, because your head weighs about 15 pounds on average, and this bone, this first bone, the atlas, only weighs an ounce.
Mm-hmm.
So everything's got to be balanced here. Now, this is the way you're going to leave, okay? If your body's working like this, everything is affected. Your body chemistry is affected, your physiology is affected, your musculoskeletal system is affected, so you're not working as well as you could. Your body doesn't function as well. When you're clear and your nerve system is functioning properly, you live long and prosper, okay? Your nerve system is functioning properly, your body chemistry is working better, so you're able to do what God intended you to do.
Right, that's what you mentioned earlier. That's what the alignment does, is try to make your whole overall system work better.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Now, we're going to talk about cups and saucers.
Okay.
Okay, we got a visual of a cup with a saucer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The bottom of the skull has these 2 bumps on them. Okay, now these bumps are called condyles. We're going to call them cups,
Right?
right? This first bone, the atlas, has these 2 little ridges. Run your finger right around here.
Yeah, I see.
Okay.
It looked like a bit of a saucer.
All right, that's it. Now, the cups are supposed to fit in the saucers. You see,
Yeah.
everything kind of. Now you see how it's flush right in here.
Yeah.
Okay. Now make a fist and put 2 fingers out for me. Okay. Let's pretend that this is your brain. We're going to put your brain in the skull. We're going to stick this little puppy right in there. Okay. Now, relax your hand. Now, this thing, the brain, is in control of everything your body does. That's where all the life energy begins and ends. This thing makes kind of like electricity. Travels down the nerve system and out to all the nerves, to the 70,000 trillion cells. All the cells sends messages back to the brain, and as long as these messages come and go the way they're supposed to, you're going to express all the life that you can. Now, this area right here is called the brain stem. Part of your brain hangs out of your skull.
Right.
Okay? The spinal cord starts right here. So this area is responsible for respiration, circulation, digestion, all the nerves to your head, your face, your neck, hunger, thirst, sex drive, and posture. A lot of stuff here. On top of that, there's, trillions of nerve fibers, billions and trillions that come and go through this opening. Every nerve in your body has to come and go through this opening. So, as long as the cups are in the saucer, everything's fine. You don't feel any pressure. Everything fits together, right? It's when the saucers slip out of the cup, that's when the problem is. Because if, in fact, this happens, or something like this happens, or something, there's a lot of different ways these bones can move out of position. And if they do, first thing that happens is there's pressure on the brainstem. Now, what do you think is going to happen to that life energy if something like this is going on?
Mm-hmm. Something gets disrupted.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what B.J. Palmer discovered. He's the son of the discoverer chiropractic. He's the one that did the research on this and found out all this information. If in fact that's going on at your brainstem, the energy that's supposed to flow through your body and give you your functional longevity doesn't get through the way it should. So that means that you function at a lower level of your potential. So, this is this. Okay, we're looking down the brain. We're looking down the skull. We're just going to take the head off, and now we're looking right down the brainstem. Okay, right through there. This is the two bones that we're looking at. I'm gonna, you see, you get the visual here. You see this bone here and this bone here are these two.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, watch this. So I'm going to color in the brainstem. I've got a 2.5-year-old daughter, so I'm getting really good at my coloring. Now this blue thing, this is the brainstem, all right? All of those nerve fibers that come and go through there controlling how your body functions. This back piece of the bone of the atlas is called the posterior arch. We're going to color that bone, that part of the bone in, all right? Now, so that's this guy, and then we're going to color it in over here too. All right, so that's that. And we'll put the brainstem back in here. Now, people respond really well to visual clues. So I spend the time doing this because I want people to understand why this specific adjustment is so important for their lives and the lives of their children. Now, can you see what, this is good. Everything, the cups are in the saucer, everything's lined up. So this, all right, that's what we're looking at, right? Now, what about this one?
Yeah, well, there's a bunch of stuff out
Okay,
of whack.
well, the bottom line is, can you see how it moved?
Yeah, everything's kind of twisted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, we call this abnormal movement, this is a chiropractic word, not a medical word. We invented this word, a subluxation, okay? I get all kinds of, doc, I got a submarine in my neck, I need to come in, you know? The word is subluxation.
Okay.
And all it means is that one of these vertebrae is moved out of position and is putting pressure on the brainstem. That's not the big deal. The big deal is what happens when you have that. This interference to the life energy of the body creates all kinds of different problems. It can be anything from neck aches and back aches to muscular dystrophy, ankylosing spondylitis, organic, this for heart problems, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Now, the point of this whole little bit of education, what we're talking about here, is that chiropractic supposed to address fixing this, restoring this normal configuration so that your life energy can work the way it's supposed to, and you'll live a life, you'll have the quality of life that you want. If you stay like this, you're reducing your longevity because your body isn't expressing all the life that it could. We're not fixing anything. I'm not going to fix your neck and back. I'm not going to fix your heart. The philosophy of chiropractic believes that this power that creates us is also the power that keeps us in existence, and that the body heals itself as long as this interference is gone. Mm-hmm. So that's the whole point of what chiropractic is really about. We believe that in the fact that the power that made the body heals the body.
But yes, the most chiropractors, I never use the chiropractor, but my buddy does. He always goes to him when he has a pain. He gets the pain adjusted.
You know, chiropractic has been working since 1895. You know, if in fact we can get rid of the nerve interference, your body's going to function better.
Okay, so somehow they're relieving it somehow.
It started out, you know, neck ache, it never was started out as neck ache and backache therapy. The manipulation of the spine and how you move the bones definitely affects what happens to your body. It affects your body chemistry. This adjustment is much more specific and much more effective than manipulative therapy.
Right, okay.
Manipulation, let's face it, when chiropractic started out, they weren't doing specific adjusting. They were going down the spine, and if they felt like a bone was out of position, they'd move it back into place. It releases endorphins and enkephalins, so your body, it feels good, okay? And a lot of times, the pressure on the nerves, when they're in the lower part of the spine, can be relieved.
Okay.
So people...
So that's the one I know of, I guess.
That's right, that's right. Now, there are only a few of us that do this kind of work. There's about 200 of...
yeah, I know, I looked for,
we
helped Denise look for one in Canada there.
Yeah, we're few and far between,
Yeah,
but we're doing very specific adjustments. And what they found that was once you relieve this pressure, the body starts to function better. Muscles move bones, not chiropractors. Muscles, every one of the bones in your spine have muscles attached to them. And if the muscles aren't getting the right messages, they're not functioning properly. What B.J. Palmer found out is that if we can clear the interference here, the messages to the muscles start to work better, and the body starts to take care of itself. That's the difference. If you have muscle spasms in your back or issues in your back, mid-back, low back, or your neck, and you go in there and you force the body to move in a position where muscles are already in spasm, usually it doesn't last, and sometimes it's risky. This is much more specific, much less risky, and the principle here is that we're working with the body itself to help the body heal itself. The healing's done from above down, from inside out. So that's where we're going here. We're going to give you an examination to find out if, in fact, you've got one of these subluxations.
Misalignment.
And if it's there, we're going to take some very specific X-rays in 3D to fix it.
I see.
Because and the adjustment is very gentle but very specific. So if you're wondering how you got this, you're wondering how the cup slipped out of the saucer?
Well, it could be 100 different ways.
That's right.
I play a lot. Like you play imagine playing football or hockey, and you get constant physical contact.
The only thing that really keeps this vertebra, keeps the cups in the saucer, so to speak, are these muscles and ligaments that are attached to these areas. If in fact, let's say you're playing hockey and somebody comes along and clips you really good,
Yeah, that's common.
that trauma, your body has these mechanisms that enable it to dissipate force so that you can survive. You
Yeah,
survive.
like shock absorber.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it can't get rid of all of that force, that input,
Something's got to give.
well, let's see what happens. And if you take a good shot, that trauma, as it travels through the body, eventually is going to get to this area. And if the body can't dissipate those forces, now you've got this going on. Muscles go into spasm, and this bone is pulled out of position. You see what happens to the cups and saucers now?
Yeah.
And typically this happens when you're young, when you're a child.
Okay.
That's why I ask people, listen, tell me what happened to you when you were little, because they've typically been going through life for a long time, 10, 20, 30, 40 years, subluxated.
Yeah.
So they've been losing life all of that time. So we're going to give you an exam and see if in fact you need an adjustment, and if you do, we're going to get you back on track.
Great.
Thank you so much.
Sounds good.
Yeah, thanks for being such a star.